Yeah.
Okay, how about we move to subcontinental? I know this is a very big niche, so...
My top pick for subcontinental food has to be fajitas in Enmore. This is a staple for taxi drivers, and you know if taxi drivers are going there, then it's good food because it's cheap and it's filling. They have a really great range of curries, from your, usual safe options of butter chicken and biryani to your more adventurous ones with liver and tripe and those kinds of things in it. So,
do they have brains and?
Yeah, they have like brain curry and different stuff like that. So you can be.
That was a joke.
Not a joke. They take their innards quite seriously.
Wow.
So you can be as adventurous as you want there.
So that's Indian, is that right?
It's Pakistani on Enmore Road in Enmore.
What other Pakistani restaurants are there?
There's also, if you're in the western suburbs, there's Desi Hut, which is on Haldon Street, Lakemba. That's also nice, but yeah, my topic definitely has to go to fajitas.
Okay, how about Indian food, if you wanted Indian?
Well, Indian food, I guess you could say, is quite synonymous with...
How about Khan Baba? Is it... what is it?
Yep.
In Auburn?
Yep, it used to be called Khan Baba. It's no longer called Khan Baba. And that's along the main road in Auburn, towards the end. So if you go past Mardo's and keep walking, near the primary school. And that's actually a nice option if you want to go with friends on a Friday night. It's a bit more of a sit-down atmosphere. They have a function room upstairs for any functions as well.
What about if you're in the city and you're after subcontinental food?
If you're in the city, there's a vegetarian option which is really tasty called Maya in Surrey Hills. They do really excellent desserts as well. They have a really big range of desserts, because if you tried Indian desserts, then you know that these are amazing, like gulab jamun, for example.
There's also that new Skewers barbecue place.
Yeah, that's just down from Broadway, and they do a range of grills, like chicken tikka, tandoori chicken, grilled meats in wraps with salad, and so that's a good cheap option. For meals under $10 if you go to Sydney Uni or UTS.
Let's move on to actual desserts then. What's your favourite dessert place?
Desserts. This is something very close to my heart. And if you're at UTS or USyd, you'll have a really good range of things on offer. There's a vegetarian cafe on Glebe Point Road called Bad Manners, and they have amazing desserts. They have beautiful cheesecakes, puddings, ice creams, and their food isn't half bad too. They're actual main courses. So I would definitely recommend that one.
What cuisine do they offer in the main courses?
It's vegetarian food. So obviously I would endorse halal food as a first option, but sometimes that's not always available. And at a vegetarian place, you can feel comfortable eating because there's no risk of contamination from meats. And so they have a range of different vegetarian options, ranging from Moroccan foods like tagine to Mexican things like, nachos, and everything in between, to burgers and wraps.
Yeah, sorry to jump around, but actually, do you know any really good Mexican or Spanish places to check out?
In that area, actually, in Broadway Food Court, there's a Mexican halal place. I think it's actually run by some Turkish people. There's some interesting cross-cultural things going on.
Yeah.
But they're actually quite nice and reasonably priced. If you go to USyd or UTS, you should check them out.
Well, En Casa is Spanish, and that's
on Pitt Street. En Casa, it's a Spanish cuisine restaurant, but they're not halal. So if you go there, you can have seafood, wood fire pizzas, for example, or you can just have a salad. Like, stick to the vegetarian/seafood options, and you should be fine.
Right. Okay, Zainab, how about like more cafe style food? So cafe style food/dessert. So if I just wanted to kind of go have a coffee and just like a brownie or something like that, something more like, cafes.
Yeah, I think I see what you mean there. Well, obviously I have to mention George's, which is an institution with Muslim people on a Friday night. And they offer foods that you would...
George's on Burwood.
George's in Burwood, on Burwood Road, just down from the Westfield. And they offer foods such as steaks, pastas, milkshakes, desserts such as cheesecakes, chocolate cakes, and everything in between.
And they have massive portions in their servings. So.
Yeah, their portion sizes are humongous, but their prices are a little steep if you're a uni student. So you're looking at, minimum is about $20 for a main.
How about if you're in Bankstown?
If you're after a steak in Bankstown, you can't go past Volcanoes. Their prices are ranging from about $20, and they're quite nice if you want to go with friends on a Friday night. They have a really good ambience. And also, if you're after a steak in the southwest area, there's also Flames, formerly known as Il Sapore in Campsie.
There's also Reflections restaurant, which is in the shopping centre, and they've got like chicken fungi and like grand.
I guess that's the cafe style that you were after, Tasneem, when you were asking Zainab this question.
Yeah,
because it's less of a restaurant.
That's right. If you just want to get a grill or something. How about dessert, Zainab? Like if I wanted to, like the equivalent of Max Brenner or like Centuros or something.
What's wrong with Centuros?
No.
Yeah, how can
it's something not so mainstream? I know there's Chocolata, which is on South Terrace, I think. What was the other chocolate place you mentioned in Bankstown? The one that
Chocolates Del Mondo. That's next to House of Thai on Chapel Road in Bankstown, and they offer similar fare to Chocolata, so waffles, hot chocolates, desserts, and that sort of thing. And there's also Waffleicious in Auburn.
That's right. Yeah.
What else is there on offer in that sort of niche?
In terms of desserts, well, there's a new Turkish dessert place which is actually open on Glebe Point Road in Glebe. It's only been there for about a month, and they're a really good option if you want to go with a group of friends out on a Friday or
what is it called, Zana?
The name escapes me right now, but it's just past San Churros, and it's really nicely decorated with like rugs on the wall and Turkish.
I've actually seen that place. The decor is amazing, and they've got like this sort of an ice cream booth. When you look right in from the door, you can see it, and I think it's their specific Turkish ice cream, the like really stretchy kind.
The one with the knife and fork?
Yeah.
The Mado's have that too, so if you want an ice cream.
Yeah. And since winter is coming up, I have to give Mado's Salep beverage a plug.
Yes.
That's Salep. That is like a hug in a mug. Seriously.
I agree with you. We call it sahlab in Arabic, but it's so nice.
Yeah.
It's delicious. It has orchid flower, I think, in it. And
I'm not sure exactly, but it's white.
It's white and very
divine.
thick. Yeah. And it's very, very comforting on a warm winter's night.
You can't go through
on a cold winter's night. Sorry.
Okay, Zainab, how about just any other miscellaneous restaurants or cafes that come to mind? We didn't speak of Bengali food, the one in Lakemba.
Yeah, there's Banoful restaurant in Lakemba, which is right opposite the station, and they also have another branch in Rockdale. And their food is quite interesting because you'd think Bengali food would be similar to Pakistani and Indian, but their foods have more of a tangy sort of taste, so quite lemony, and there's more of an emphasis on fish as opposed to meats that you find in Pakistani cuisine. So they offer like the things that you would see in a Pakistani restaurant, such as tandoori chicken and naan, but also a range of foods which are particular to Bengali cuisine.
Speaking of naan, do you know any good Afghan places?
That is actually my gripe about Sydney. I would go to Adelaide just because they have a really good Afghan restaurant in Adelaide called Parwana. So if anyone ever goes to Adelaide, check out Parwana. But in Sydney, there's actually nothing. There used to be a Afghan restaurant called Ariana in Auburn or Granville, but there's no longer anything. And so I'm waiting for someone to open an Afghan place, actually.
Yeah. I think just to be culturally inclusive, let's just give the Arab food a plug too. So if I did want to have just decent, Arab/Lebanese food, where should I go?
My top pick is Al Asil, and they've recently opened a branch in Lakemba. They also have a branch in Surrey Hills.
And the original one was in Greenacre.
And the original one in Greenacre. So there's one in Surrey Hills if you want to go after uni or something like that.
And there's obviously Jasmine's, which is in Greenacre, Lakemba,
I think the one that I've been hearing the most about lately, though, is El Jannah's.
Oh, EJ's, yeah.
El Jannah, that has to come with its own disclaimer. Do not eat if you're going to see people afterwards because your garlic breath will kill them.
But the garlic is actually really delicious, and they have a branch in Granville, and I think they've just opened up one in Punchbowl.
Yeah, the one in Granville is the original one, and so if you're in Granville, you shouldn't go past El Jannah and then El Sweetie afterwards for Lebanese desserts.
El Sweetie?
Yes, El Sweetie, interesting name. And there's also C-Suite, which is in Parramatta, and they've recently opened a branch in Greenacre, next to Gibran, the restaurant in Greenacre. And C-Suite have a very delicious knafe, which they serve with a bun.
Yeah, they actually eat it with bread. The first time I saw that, I was ready to go into like high blood pressure.
Yeah, like carbohydrate overdose.
Yeah, you would think it's quite a strange thing to be having a bread roll with a sweet cake, but the combination of flavors is really good, because some people complain that they find Arab sweets a bit too overwhelming in terms of
syrup and stuff.
In terms of the syrup, but the bread roll balances that.
Well, speaking of carbohydrate, Lashish in Guildford have really good fattah, so if you want to go for breakfast, that's really nice, and they have like grills and things like that for lunch.
Speaking of grills, actually, I must give Najee's in Arncliffe a plug. It's right opposite Arncliffe Station, and they do this amazing sandwich called a San Fran. It's chicken.
San Fran?
It's called a San Francisco.
Oh, okay.
And they do the usual kebabs, but this sandwich is famous. People go from far away to taste this San Francisco sandwich. It's chicken with melted cheese and mushroom and corn, and it is amazing.
Wow.
So that's in Arncliffe, opposite the station, if you want to go.
Opposite the station.
What about if you're in Liverpool? Is there anything down there that you would recommend?
In Liverpool, in the food court, there's actually a Mongolian grill place.
Oh, that's different.
Yeah, which I've heard quite a bit about. I haven't actually tasted it myself, but it is on my food to-do list.
You know, every time I walk past one of those really wacky cuisines, like I remember there was once a Himalayan restaurant on Glebe Point Road, but I think they've closed down now, but they had like Nepalese cuisines, and they'd serve dishes like the Yeti, or, you know.
Isn't there a Himalayas in Auburn?
There's a place called Himalaya in Granville, actually, which serves Pakistani food. Unfortunately, no Yeti on offer. We'll have to wait for that one.
It was called the Yeti and the Yak, I remember. But like the problem is they're all meat-based dishes, so they weren't halal. It would be interesting if someone wanted to start a restaurant business and actually branched out into these alternative cuisines that we don't have restaurants in, rather than, you know, everyone opening just another Thai place or another Nando's or something.
Yeah. Well, I think just to wrap up this segment, Zainab, any special mentions of any other restaurants that you dearly recommend to our listeners?
Your absolute favourites?
I think we pretty much covered them all. But I guess my main... and there's another vegetarian place, which I highly recommend. It's called Nourishing Quarter, and it's on Cleveland Street. And they are a fusion of Latin American food.
Cleveland Street
in Surrey Hills.
Right. And that's vegetarian cuisine.
That's vegetarian cuisine. So they serve dumplings and noodles and also Latin American dishes.
Wow.
Nice. That is an interesting combination.
Definitely.
Okay, well, Zainab, I think you've given us plenty of food options today.
Food for thought.
And if you guys have had nothing planned for your break, or, you know, your after work,
go down to these restaurants, and let us honestly go have a meal and get on Facebook and let us know your reviews so we can see if it's worth, you know, giving a go. And
if you know a niche restaurant that we haven't mentioned, or, you know, something that most people don't know about but makes amazing food, please let us know. I mean, like, there's always demand for more and
food, definitely. Zainab, thank you so much for coming on the show this week, and we will see you
in the next segment, actually, because Zainab's sticking around for a short quiz, and then we'll be doing events and wrapping up the show, inshallah. So stay with us. You're listening to The Y Factor on 87.6 FM.